Welcome to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today we are discussing our May Buddy Read thriller title. If you would like to see this in video format without ad breaks, you'll need to head on over to Patreon to sign up. Along with ad-free video podcasts, you'll also gain access to after shows, reading vlogs, and other exclusive content. If you're not into Patreon and you happen to be listening on the Spreaker podcast app, you too have access to the after shows and other exclusive content in audio only. If you prefer videos, including reading vlogs, you should check out Patreon instead. Join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Clubs app for even more bookish chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you're listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is feature co-host Classy from the Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everybody.
Hey, tell everyone where they can find you online.
You can find me on all platforms as Classy Green, and for my Bookish Virtual Assistant pages, I'm Bookish Virtual Assistant.
All right. So before we begin, we'd like to remind you that, as always with book chats, we talk full spoilers here. So spoiler alert, you have been warned. Today we are discussing the book Drowning, written by TJ Newman. The audiobook is narrated by Stephen Weber and Laura Benatti. The book was published on March 20th, 2023 by Simon & Schuster and Simon & Schuster Audio. The hardcover is 304 pages. The unabridged audio comes in at 7 hours and 43 minutes. Classy, would you kindly share the synopsis?
Absolutely. Flight attendant turned New York Times bestseller author TJ Newman, whose first book, Falling, was an instant #1 national bestseller and the biggest thriller debut of 2021. And she returns for her second book, an edge-of-your-seat thriller about a commercial jetliner that crashes into the ocean and sinks to the bottom with passengers trapped inside, and the extraordinary rescue operation to save them. 6 minutes after takeoff, Flight 1421 crashes into the Pacific Ocean. During the evacuation, an engine explodes and the plane is flooded. Those alive are forced to close the doors, but it's too late. The plane sinks to the bottom with 12 passengers trapped inside. More than 200 feet below the surface, engineer Will Kent and his 11-year-old daughter Shannon are waist deep in water and fighting for their lives. Their only chance at survival is an elite rescue team on the surface led by professional diver Chris Kent, Shannon's mother and Will's soon-to-be ex-wife, who must work together with Will to find a way to save their daughter and rescue the passengers from the sealed airplane, which is now teetering on the edge of an undersea cliff. There's not much time. There's even less air. With devastating emotional power and heart-stopping suspense, Drowning is an unforgettable thriller about a family's desperate fight to save themselves and the people trapped with them against impossible odds.
Dun, dun, dun. So let me just tell you guys a couple things before we start. So first, I finished this a little while ago, and with exception of the main three characters, I don't remember anyone's name. Nobody. It was a big cast.
It really is. It's almost like I need to look them up.
I'm going to be saying, that old lady that, that mean guy that, I'll be doing a lot of that.
Yeah. Okay.
So sorry.
I kind of can remember some people. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also, so interesting thing, when we picked this book, I did not bother looking up the author. I honestly barely looked at the synopsis, and I surely didn't look at the author. So when I heard in the synopsis, I said, oh, it's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reads like a man wrote it to me, but it wasn't. So yes. I thought that was a fun
fact, huh?
Yeah, fun fact.
Yeah. And I read her first book, Falling, and I really liked it. So I knew it was a woman, and I knew she was a flight attendant or a former flight attendant. But after this book, I kind of looked her up a little more because I felt like the writing in this one was a little different than her first book.
How so? Tell me, how is it different?
So, and I guess, I probably am wrong here because I was thinking it was going to be a mystery because her first book was a mystery.
Mm.
And even when I looked at the synopsis and the tags, I think I may have saw mystery and I should have thought of, well, no, I won't say I should have thought about that. I just was like, oh, okay, she writes mystery thriller. But this one is not a mystery. And I
Mm-mm.
was like 40 something percent in and I'm like,
Where's
where's
the
the
mystery?
mystery? Come
Yeah.
on, where's this going? And I thought, oh, she's going to get us at the 60% mark. That damn Andy, because Andy was throwing me off, right? Andy was the mean old guy.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, what did he do? Did he do something sinister to this plane? Because in her first book, it was with the pilots.
Okay.
It's something like that, the mystery. So that's what I was thinking, like, okay. And then this writing is a little different. And I will say how I feel like this book is really different. I felt like she wrote this book to be
a movie.
Yes.
I
And
felt like I was watching an action film.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think we had talked about that before, that a lot of writers now, or people who want to be script writers or whatever, are writing books, and these books are written as movies and they're not reading like a book.
Right.
And so I did look her up a little more, and somebody said she has been trying to get into Hollywood for some years.
Okay.
Script writing. And I said, now I see it.
This does read that way.
It definitely did. And I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it's just not what I was expecting. So
That's
I think
fair.
and then once I got to like the 50% mark and I'm like, this is no damn mystery. then I started changing my mindset on what I'm reading.
Okay, that's fair.
So, yeah.
I have a suspicion that I liked it more than you because I did not read her previous work. So I'm not comparing it to anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you're expecting apples and you get like baked apples, it's not the same thing.
Overbaked apple. No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
like, why is it so mushy? What's happening? It's wrong. You wanted one thing and you got something else. So me, I'm like, oh, it's apples. Yum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, too horrible, but yeah, that, and like I said, I managed my expectations after we got to a certain point in the book, and I was like, okay, I don't have to solve nothing, because that's the fun part with the mystery stuff. Is like, did she get me? Did she not get me? And I was like, there's nothing to get. Damn it! It's just how many people are gonna die.
Yeah, it's just a body count. It's a story, Okay, so I do want to. Okay, so who was the black character?
Was it Maya or Jasmine? I can't remember. That they started sounding alike, and even their descriptions started to sound similar. So I can't remember. All I know is whoever was the one who couldn't swim.
Okay, so
which was so cliche.
I'm like,
it was
is
her.
it her?
Yep, she was the black woman. Yes, the one who kept she had on 1,000 life suits to float. She's like, why do you think I got on all these life jackets? Because they can't swim.
But she was like, young TJ too. Newman. Wasn't she a teenager?
No,
she wasn't.
No, you know what? Maya was the little girl.
I thought Maya couldn't swim either.
She may not have, but the grown woman. So that must have been Jasmine then. Because there was Jasmine. Bernadette was the nurse. So I think it was Jasmine then. But it was Maya and Shannon. Maya was the little girl who was riding the plane by herself.
Right. And I thought she was the one who they were teaching to swim in the aisle. Wasn't it her? Or was it the lady? Was it Jasmine?
I thought it was the lady.
Oh my gosh.
I can't remember. Let me do some research.
Because
I have to look that up.
Okay, because I knew there was a black character, but I had a hard time kind of distinguishing who it was in the end.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find them, the characters. I mean, I don't want to hold up your time looking all of them up, but
yeah, Jasmine was the life vest woman.
Okay.
Ira and Ruth were the old couple. Thank you so much, Michelle on Goodreads. She posted all the characters.
Oh, great.
Thank you. Because I'm like, I needed this. So Ira and Ruth, Bernadette, Jasmine, Andy, the blue polo a-hole,
Mhm.
Will the smart guy, Shannon the smart kid, who is also the main character's daughter, Ryan the newlywed widow, which was so sad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Of course, Maya the unaccompanied minor, and then the crew, Kit, Kaloa, and Molly.
Okay.
So there were a lot of characters. And of course, you know, Chris, who was on the outside, Will, who's, you know, inside with his daughter, Shannon, and of course, the team outside with Chris, all her people.
Yeah.
And the government and, you know, the military people. There were a lot of moving parts.
Yeah,
here.
it really was. It was. But yeah, that was just one of those little cliche. And I was like, really?
Like,
We had to pick the black woman? Couldn't swim? Really? We couldn't make Andy the asshole, the non-swimmer? It would have been perfect if he drowned.
Actually, he did.
He did drown, but I'm like, it would have been even more perfect if he could swim.
I know, but it was hilarious to me. So I'm like, I was like, what an interesting way she decided to kill him off.
Kicking and flailing.
Yeah, kicking and flailing. Like, that was a horrible way to die. He's like,
but
so
that's how he was. I mean, it was all him, his personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, sure, go first. You go first and let us know how it goes.
Okay, kids. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
This is what you don't do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I was like, stop kicking, stop. But, you know, you're in shock. You think, yeah. But yeah, there were a lot of characters. I was thinking
for him. I'm like, calm down.
I know.
Like,
I'm like, if somebody is like grabbing you like that, but I don't know. I was kind of like trying to put myself in his situation because I have asthma and I have had times where you can't breathe and people are like, calm down. And you're like, I am calm.
I'm trying, yeah.
Yeah. And it does take you a little time before you can get your bearing. So, you know, I did empathize with him a little bit, but then I was like, I don't like his ass. He was a jackwagon.
I think it was also a failing of the rescue team because they should have said, hey, you're going to see some stuff down there. Just try not to look.
Mm-hmm.
They should have warned them better. They did a poor job of kind of explaining and talking them through, which is why. So, to a little bit of a background, you guys. So they're down there. They have a limited amount of air, and above, of course, the military thinks they have the best plan. So they send some divers down there with these suits that are supposed to be, I guess, it's so insulated. There, no water can get in. They have this little breathing attachment on it. And all they have to do is get out of the plane. The suit will inflate and it will help them push up to the top. But the caveat is you must breathe normally or you'll have big problems. Things will burst. Things will happen because of the pressure as you go up. And, you know, they have all these caveats. And some people can't swim. Some people aren't very fit. Some people, it's all these reasons why this is a bad idea. And they're saying, oh, professional divers, only a certain percentage of people did it successfully. Of pros in the military couldn't do it, all of them. And they're like, oh, this is a great idea. Let's
get all these passengers who have never done this.
Yeah. So he puts the suit on, you know, he's thinking, oh, big man, I can do it. No big deal. He goes down there. He sees a body. He sees one of the pilot's bodies and freaks out.
Yeah, because it's been eaten by the fish. Yeah. So I can't imagine what he saw.
Ugh, it's going to look bad. It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he got caught. His suit tore or something.
Yeah, and water started.
Water started getting in and he just drowned and died. Yeah. Like, damn.
And at one moment, they thought he was going to be saved because it was like a little air.
Yeah, little space.
And they were like, stop. And he lost it.
He lost it. Yeah. He stopped breathing. He held his breath. That was like, oh no, he's not breathing. That was the one thing they told you. You cannot hold your breath no matter what. They said scream all the way up. Sing or scream.
Yeah.
Do something. Just do not hold your breath. And he went and held his breath because he thought the water was going to take him out.
Yeah.
And he died.
Yeah, and it did take you out.
Yeah. I think I would have been like with Will and the rest of them. They're like, we refuse. We fucking refuse. We're not doing it. Find another way, because that's out.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Oof.
And the one guy who did make it, he was one of the stewards. Wasn't he like a the flight attendant who did make it? Was he a flight
the one
attendant?
who lost his fingers?
Yeah. But he's very fit. He was very fit. And he made it, and he made it okay. And he seemed to think that others could, but they couldn't.
Yeah, not everybody. Especially, like, I think somebody had said in the story, and it may have been Will, and you guys thought an 80-year-old was going to be able to do this? Really? And, and speaking of the 80-year-old, her husband passed.
Yeah.
Ira passed, and yeah, it was, like you said, it was a body count, and you were just wondering who was going to be next. And I mean, you kind of suspected that the kids were going to survive because of just the sentimentality of the story. Because also in this story, a backstory was a dead child, and which kind of I thought was a little sappy.
Yeah.
I did. I really did, because I felt like they were trying to pull at our emotions, because, you had the plain story. This was a thriller. And
see, I didn't mind it, because I thought that was the motivation to make them so hard-headed to keep their last kid alive.
Yeah, but I just felt like, I don't know. It was something about it that was just like, you guys could have used another backstory, because regardless of a dead child or not, you're going to want to keep your child alive.
Yeah,
you are going to fight to the end. And the way the reveal of the child, of them having a child who had passed away, it was just, I don't know. It just, to me, it was a little disjointed to me, because, and I got what you were saying too. And because afterwards I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. Like, we're going to fight to the end because we will not lose another child. But I'm like, even if you hadn't lost a child, you just having a child who could possibly pass away, you're going to fight to the end. So, and I just felt like too, like, so you gonna tell me out of all the people in the world, your ex is the one that can save us? Yep. I was like, come on.
That was convenient, right?
Exactly. Right.
That was convenient,
and now that's gonna save our marriage.
I know that was, but you know what though,
cheesy, man. To me,
it was cheesy. But I kind of when I was in it, I kind of bought it, because we always hear stories of couples not surviving a child's death, right? We always hear like that just wrecks a lot of relationships, because
and that's why they were headed to divorce.
It was nothing else. It was just that they just couldn't communicate. They couldn't they couldn't pull it together, because they couldn't save themselves first. They had to save themselves. They didn't know how to do that.
Put on that oxygen mask before you put it on your child.
Yeah, and it wrecked their marriage. And it was like being 2 seconds from death kind of made them say some words and things they needed to say, because they had a chance to say them, which is what a lot of people don't get a chance to do. But they had a chance to kind of make peace with it. And then when they got out, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't sure about Chris's ending, but yeah, I was just like, what you doing here? What you doing?
I thought at first, so let's just talk about the ending, then we'll go back since you brought it up.
Yeah.
But I thought at first, I'm like, is the author really going to kill her? Is that really going to happen?
Is she on the other side? Because she was talking to her daughter.
She was on the other side. I think she was at the gates, and her daughter met her. And she saw her daughter as she was. I'm like, oh, that's so sad. And I'm like, what's going to happen though? Is she going to go back or is she going to go forward?
Right.
And then it kind of got this fade to black. We didn't really know what happened. And I'm like, well, damn, is she alive or dead?
I know. Then they had a damn memorial reunion party or something. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, we hear so and so.
Yeah, the author tried to make us think she was gone because Will didn't want to read his letter. So I'm like, well, damn, did she die? The whole time I'm like, is she dead? And then of course she wasn't dead at the end. I'm
I
like,
was
oh,
okay. It
Yeah.
wasn't horrible. She was just, I think she was still like, she was resting or something in another room or something, right? Because everybody else was, well, no, it was the reunion of the people on the plane. She wasn't on the plane. She was the rescue team.
Right.
Yeah. So
she didn't go with them. So
that's right. It was just them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of liked that ending that, she did get to see her daughter and that her daughter was okay and to come back. And like you said, and work on the marriage and communicate more with their daughter and hopefully Will, because Will was holding on to dear life for Shannon. He didn't want anything to happen to her. And to kind of like loosen up and let her be that 11-year-old little girl, smart little girl she was. So
that also saved his relationship with his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had to, when he was in his confessional moment, he saw his daughter like at the corner of his eye, like, oh, she's staying over there. I guess I'll have a couple confessions for her too.
Mm-hmm.
And it saved their relationship because she would have been really resentful growing up with him if he hadn't changed.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was basically, I'm the father, do as I say. And I just want to protect you, but not allowing her, like granted, thank God he was on the plane with her. But
she might not have lived.
Yeah. But yeah, just allowing her to fly and not literally like just fly alone, but her wings, give her wings, let her be that little girl who's going to make mistakes. And because as parents, your kids are going to make mistakes.
They are.
They're going to be who they are. And no matter what you want them to be, they're their own person.
True.
And yeah. But yeah, I just felt there were still some cheesy moments, but there were some moments I was just like, okay. But like I said, the more we talk about this, I really do see that this book read like a movie script.
It did.
And I was like, I think she wrote this to market it straight for a movie and not for the average reader who just wants to read. And maybe it's just me read more into other people because apparently I'm in that.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Because this rating is like 4.17.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like when you get an action film, it's not going to be Emmy-winning performances, right? We know this. You're going for the fires and the guns and the race scenes and the drownings, and you're going for that. You're not going for character development. You're going for the rescue and the action.
Because there was no character development in this book.
Yeah. The most there was for Will and his direct family. That's it, because they were the anchor of the story.
Yep.
But everyone else, who cares, right? We get to see them for 3 hours underwater. And then hasta la vista to them, And some people didn't make it even that far. So
yeah.
when I put it in the correct bucket, it ends up not bothering me that much because I know I have a piece of candy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I said, I managed my expectations, but I still just was like, okay.
Yeah.
You I almost want to say, like, look, authors or writers or whatever the heck, if you're going to write a movie, just write the damn movie.
I know.
Leave us readers.
She probably heard it's easier to sell the rights to a book than it is to sell a movie script.
Yeah, because I looked her up. Somebody has said she has been trying to get into Hollywood for 20 years. 20. And so this last book was like her number one debut. It was number one, and it was her debut. And they were like, okay, got traction. Let's try this next one. And I could have saw the first one too as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you first read somebody's book, I think we've talked about that too. Like that first book, you're just like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they keep writing, you're like,
Oh. Well, you know what they say, everyone has one good
one
book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone has one great one.
Yeah, but I could totally see this as an action film. Like I
Mm-hmm.
almost felt like it gave me that speed, with
Mm-hmm.
Keanu Reeves and Sandra
Bullock.
Bullock,
Mm-hmm.
that, and I felt some Sully vibes. Remember Sully, the pilot who landed? So I definitely could see it as a movie. But I think, I'm just like,
Because she
if you,
followed all of those tropes to a T. She had every type of person in there that you would
mm-hmm,
see.
yep,
She had the life-threatening events, and of course, some people had to die to make it believable. And
mm-hmm,
even the beginning, I do give her props on the beginning, because when that plane first went down, I was in it. I'm like,
yeah.
oh no. And then when they were all trying to escape, and he's like, no, we can't get out. Look at the water. Like, it's going to catch on
Yeah, I
fire.
was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I can, it was high action, high
Mhm.
action.
Yeah. It was. And it was.
Yeah.
It was a thriller suspense. It was suspenseful. It had the thriller. Yeah, she had all those. And like you said, she had every trope, every character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I did. I was like, yep, this feels like Speed. Yes, this feels like, like you said, any other action film that you're used to seeing where there's the one person, the smart guy, and
You
the
got one person working with the person on the
outside,
outside,
yeah, like
and
the negotiator, and yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, I did, but again, I was expecting something else, and it was my fault for. No, I won't say it's not my fault. It's good reason, and people who be tagging stuff as something that it's not. Um,
Hey, people, learn how to
yeah,
tag correctly.
right. Especially if you've read the book.
Hmm.
This is There was no mystery to solve, folks. None.
Yeah, I'm unclear why the mystery tag was even on here at all. I'm very confused by it.
Yeah, I don't know if people maybe went with her first book thinking, okay, she writes mysteries, and maybe they tagged it like for their to read, and it just
Hmm.
comes up that way because it's been tagged that many times. I untagged mystery because I'm like, this is not a mystery. This is
Yeah.
straight thriller or suspense. Um, But yeah, I mean, as long as she's been a flight attendant, I don't know how many she did her research. I don't know if she's been in an accident or not, but she definitely did her research. You could definitely tell that the engineering and the reefs in Hawaii. I
Well,
really
flight
felt like
attendants, their training is intense. So
tense.
they
Yeah.
know all the things. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever seen that training online? Like, I've seen it for some major airlines on YouTube,
Mm-mm.
and
Mm-mm.
like they're in a pool, like a big ass pool with like like
Mm.
a side of a plane there, and they're
Yeah.
jumping off and they're moving the water. It's like a wave pool or something. I've
Yeah.
seen it online. So
Yeah.
they go through this like training, and I guess they would kind of have some ideas of things that could happen,
Right.
but she did have to do some research into like how a huge body of water could catch on fire, and
Mm-hmm.
how air pockets work, and people getting electrocuted while they're trying to get out the damn plane.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, all those little things, right? And the
Yeah.
engineering aspect from Will's eyes, and then the naval and the cliff and I really felt like um I was there with,
Mhm.
the cliff underwater and the Hawaii and the islands, and so very descriptive,
Mhm.
she did a great job of it.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, like I said, it was just few little cliche things that just was just like,
Yeah, I want to talk about a little bit more of that. So let's take a quick break, you
okay.
guys. Check out these commercials. By listening to those, you are supporting the podcast. And as always, don't forget to pick up your copy of the book review journal, available right now on Amazon. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, guys. So, when I ran through those characters real fast earlier, she literally has a stereotype for every one of those characters. Every single one.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, we can go back to Jasmine a little bit. I did not like that she was the comic relief, like we talked about with the vest, the triple vesting or however many. The woman almost drowned.
Yes.
Not being able to swim. Very stereotypical. Then you got like that the mean guy who was like basically, I don't know what his problem was. Oh, and it turned out he ended up being a cheater. He was in Hawaii cheating with his girlfriend.
Yes. They thought he was at a convention and his butt was with another woman.
Yes. And then, of course, you have the quintessential old couple. One half dies and the other one just decides to lay down.
Couple.
Look, she decides to just lay down and die too because, I'm
going to go out with Ira.
I just want to I've lived my life. I had my adventure, and she got her little speech.
Girl, I knew that was coming after she loved Titanic. I was like, she gone.
Look,
I was like, she gone.
She volunteered to be Jack and just float away. I'm like, get me out this bitch. I said, look, if that was me, I'd be like, y'all better use these muscles and help me up. But she had cancer. Her cancer was back. She kind of felt like I'm at the way to
go, right? Yeah. I don't have to suffer. But yeah, it was the quintessential, And he was a grumpy old man, and when I was like, Ira and Ruth. And there was something they had said, I said, oh, they're an old Jewish couple. I think it was something the way, I think when she was praying over him to die. So yes, stereotype.
Yes, and of
What's
course,
next?
The stereotype for the nurse. I felt like she was kind of stereotypy too. She was doing all the nursey things and
just pin this. CO2 poisoning. Okay, we'll go back. Nurse.
Yep. And of course, you got to have one newlywed couple on there celebrating. And of course, half that couple dies. And it's like, oh my God. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Wasn't that White Lotus? Didn't that happen in Lotus or White Lotus? Like the man went on a honeymoon and came back and his wife. Okay, I digress.
I don't know if it was White Lotus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's crazy. So I mean, who else? So of course the crew, typical crew acting people, and of course the typical captain. I'm the last one out. I must save everyone.
I know.
The last captain that didn't die.
Kit. Yeah. And then. Right, because you had the male flight attendant and the female flight attendant. The smart guy who knows everything, and
which is Will, Mr. Know-It-All, and he actually saved them. So
it was basically, do we have a doctor on the plane? Do we have a so-and-so on the plane? Why, yes, we do, ma'am.
It's like she literally wrote down every type of person you would need and just throw them all together. Yeah.
Little soup. Little airplane soup. Airplane survival kit.
Yeah. And they're like, just enough conflict to have some stupid fights over nothing.
And who do we knock off first? Put a little liquor in there. Yeah.
Oh my God. The captain was like, I'm having this fucking drink. They're like, what happens when you get up there and they try to blah, blah, blah. She like, I don't give a fuck. I might die. I'm about to take this drink.
Man. Matter of fact, give me that other bottle. That would be me. I'm like taking my chances.
I know.
I'm taking my chances. I got to survive this.
Yeah.
Sober.
Right.
And there's liquor on this plane. Y'all better fight me.
I mean, honestly, she would have the biggest, I think, ideas if they were going to live or die. She really thought they were about to die. So why the fuck not? She's like, we're about to
YOLO.
die.
She was like, YOLO.
Hmm.
If I make it, I make it. And if they gon' whatever, fire me.
She's like, I wish you would. I'm never doing this again anyway.
That's how I was thinking. Like, after this, I don't know if I want this job.
I know. I don't know if I'd get on another plane again if that happened to me.
Nope. Just, fire me. Let me get my unemployed. Do that. Because right now, I need a drink.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
honestly, in my opinion, and I don't know, I know everyone doesn't think the same way, but in my mind, drowning is the worst way to die.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
can't imagine.
worst.
Yeah, I
I
can't imagine.
I
Yeah.
would be that is awful. Like the
You're
idea of like breathing in water, it's like you're panicking and everything. That's the worst way.
Yeah, your lungs filling up with flu. Yeah.
Yeah. That's horrible. Yeah, I'd be drinking.
It's
I'd be
not
drunk.
quick. Yeah, it's not
No,
quick. Ooh.
I know. It's crazy.
But yeah, she did. She used everyone that you like you said to for this every character possible.
Hmm.
And then she used the cliche, the little backstory of the main characters. We have to, everyone is going to survive, but especially Will and Shannon.
Yeah.
If Will and Shannon wasn't on this plane, but yeah, can we go back to see? Are we done with characters?
Yes, I guess.
CO2 poisoning.
Okay, yep.
I felt like she should have developed that more. It was weird. Like we heard her giggling and blah blah blah, and it was like, is it the liquor? Is it, and if people don't really know that it's CO2, it's like, is she losing her mind? And I mean, it was, but I just
Mhm.
felt like she should have did a little better explaining CO2 poisoning and, maybe leading up to her all of a sudden giggling and laughing. Because she did all this other explaining of, or why did you put it in there? And I get it because it was happening.
Mhm.
But if you did all this other explaining of, Will is writing on the walls about where the water line is going, and you did all these other things, CO2 poisoning was a big factor
Mhm.
in this story of, someone else could die of that.
Yeah.
But just as all of a sudden she's giggling and she's dancing and blah blah blah, and it's like, explain, a little more into detail
Like,
about
how
this,
did it affect her?
and not right, and
And
not everybody else.
yeah, how did it hit her? And I know after that he did get the little oxygen bottles down for everybody. He said,
Hmm.
"Okay, this is the tipping point. It's gonna
Yeah,
start."
right. Because I'm not sure, like, why her and not the little ones. Because I'm thinking their little bodies, you would think, and I don't know if it was because she was in a certain area. You know what I mean? Like, how and
Mhm.
why just that one?
Mhm.
And
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
That's crazy.
but I just felt like she could have delved a little deeper into that, especially if, granted, she didn't die,
Mhm.
but that was a big factor, CO2 poisoning, because I think they kind of mentioned that earlier that was a concern,
Yeah.
and then it happened.
Yeah, it was brought up because they were saying we just have this small pocket
Mm-hmm.
of air, and it's true. Once you breathe in air, breathing out air, you do not generate more air. So,
It's regenerated. You
yes.
just yeah. So right,
Yeah.
like just what you kind of said, and it was just like all of a sudden, we just hear the nurse dancing, and I'm just like,
Like, what the hell wrong with that woman?
Did she have a flask other than the little liquor cart that, I can't remember which drink. No, you know what? She didn't drink.
No, it's just a pilot, I thought. And someone
No,
else. Someone
somebody
else drank
else.
with her,
Right.
yeah.
Andy drank. No, everybody else drank except for the pilot, and I think the nurse didn't drink. If the nurse didn't drink, Jasmine didn't drink. But there was the pilot and one other person who did not drink.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it might have been her. But still, I just felt like that was something that could have been um done a little better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, there was some things definitely that could have been better, like when we talk about the different aspects of the story, but overall, if you don't really think about it too hard and you just kind of roll with it. I mean, I thought the audiobook was good. I like that they switched back and forth between a male and female narrator. That really helped break it up.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
But did you notice that it felt like, because sometimes when you do the male and female, it's and I can't remember offhand, it's either duet or duel.
Mhm.
And I felt like they did both of these in this story. So oh God. And the reason why I say that, because when I went to a Polycon, someone mentioned that they like, because it was an audio book panel, and one of the authors were saying they liked one over the other.
Okay, so here we go. Dual
Thank you for
narration.
looking it up.
No problem. Dual narration. Narrators take turns reading the chapters from their character's perspective, and then each narrator voices all of the characters in their chapter, regardless of gender. Duet narration. Narrators read chapters from their character's perspective, but each narrator only voices their character's lines, regardless of gender or chapter. For example, a male narrator may voice all male characters, and a female narrator may voice all female characters, regardless of the chapter's perspective.
Okay. So with this one, what did you think?
So I know they definitely had dual narration going on because I don't remember hearing, like, because in Chris's chapters, there was a lot of men around her, but I don't remember a male voice inserting every time. Do you?
I do at
You
one
do?
time. That's why I said I think it may have been a duet part. There was one moment where in Chris's chapter,
So
I
you think it
thought
was
that
like parts of it that were like
yeah,
that?
there was some part in there where the naval guy came in, and I heard it and it jarred me because it was
Hmm.
like, and I should have freaking flagged it. But it jarred me because I was like, "Whoa!" Because the tone was deeper. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
her doing a male voice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at first, I thought, "Did we switch chapters?" That's how I thought, and maybe we did. I don't know, but I swear I thought, did
You
the
know,
male narrator come in here and do this because who was the captain's name? God dang it.
now you know what? I kind of, and I'm gonna feel bad if it's not this and it's that confirmation bias going on, but I
Mhm.
feel like that conversation they had when between Will and Chris, I thought those were two narrators speaking. Like, the conversation over the phone when he
Yeah.
was confessing, I thought it was two narrators at
Okay,
that
then
part.
it may have been, and that may have been that area. But yeah, I know it was like there was dialogue between two people, and
Mhm.
it wasn't her saying each. It was a back and forth. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
duet section, not the duel,
So they
right?
had a combination of both of these
I
then.
think so. And I mean, I hate for us to go back because it won't matter, but I believe I could swear it threw me off because, like you were saying, I was used to whenever Will's part of the story took place, we
Mhm.
heard that guy,
Mhm.
and I recognized how he did the female voices.
Mhm.
But there was one time when it wasn't Will's story, it was Chris's side. And I
Mhm.
think, and if it wasn't her and Will, it was her and that naval captain who
Mhm.
also lost a child.
Yes.
It was those voices. So
Hmm.
I might have to go back and be like, okay, Tamara, go here. Listen
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, cuz now I'm like really questioning that because I feel like I do remember a part where I heard two different
Mm-hmm.
distinct male and female voices in the same conversation,
Yeah.
but not consistently.
No, it was not consistently.
Yeah.
Because even when her partner, Saeed or whatever, his voice was not deeper. It was
Mhm.
whatever the female narrator, she did his voice. But
Mhm.
when that captain that authority, or if it was Will, whoever she was talking to, I can't remember, but those voices, and I believe it was probably him because he was a main character when it
Mhm.
came time to rescuing. His voice stood out to
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We'll go back. I might go back. I got a little time. I might try and be like, did I or did I not?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
now I'm really curious, and if that is the case, I do think it added to the experience
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
I remember those conversations that were like certain conversations jump out to me in this story, and maybe those were the duet parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. It made me pay attention more because I was like,
Mhm.
whoa. Because once you start listening, you get into a rhythm
Mhm.
that you recognize, okay, this is Chris's story, this is Will's story. And then you just like, whoa, where are we?
Yeah.
Because somebody else just came in. He came in, but this isn't his story. And that
Mhm.
might be the captain because Will was only telling us from the plane. This
Mhm.
guy, I think, when his story came up, um, he started talking about his backstory of losing his child. But
Mhm.
I believe him and Chris were having a conversation at first, and then all of a sudden we go to his backstory.
Mhm.
That might be that chapter.
Hmm.
So
Okay. Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I did like the narration, and I think it was more exciting. Those narrators did a good job. I could feel the tension
Mm-hmm.
coming off of Will and the
Oh, and
fighting and the panic. I felt like I could feel it. So I think she did a good job with describing those type of aspects,
mm-hmm.
and it
Yeah,
came good. It came through really well on audio.
yeah, it did. The emotions,
Mhm.
I could really tell with that mom, and she was like, "Oh no, I'm not leaving this room." You could feel all of it,
Yeah,
from everybody's side.
even Shannon, when she was talking to Maya, they were writing the notes, and Maya was like asking about her sister.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh man, like, yeah, she lost a sister, it's like, and that's something that her parents didn't even really think about while they were grieving themselves.
Yeah, that this little girl lost,
Yeah.
like, her best friend. When you're little and your siblings, that's like your first friend.
Hmm.
That's your first friend. So,
Yeah. So I don't know.
um,
I felt some of the vibes that she was trying to
convey to
reach.
the
I
yeah,
felt them a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't
true.
know. I think I do want to read her other book though, the one that you liked better.
Mhm. Yeah. But yeah, and like I said, the first one it does have a mystery aspect, and I managed my expectations, and it changed after
Mhm.
that. But yeah, I really did enjoy Falling because I don't think I've ever really read a book about. I mean, I've seen movies about terror on planes and what happens on planes, but to read it and then to read it knowing this is a stewardess, I'm not a stewardess, that's so old, a flight attendant
Mhm.
who's writing this, who's probably been in like you said, through the training or has possibly seen these things. I felt like it was genuine and personal, like I've lived this experience or I know what I'm writing about.
Yeah, she does know what she's writing about.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So
the funny thing is, I actually thought about reading her other book when I went to London earlier this
mhm.
year.
Oh, yeah, but
I
then you was
was,
like,
I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't read anything about someone falling out the sky or
"No."
drowning as I was crossing the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
Like,
No, you
no.
be on land when you're reading that stuff, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's what took me so long to get on a cruise. I remember when we first, were like I joined your review team,
Mhm.
and you gave me a book to review, and it was about I can't even remember the author's name, but did you send it to me? Was it on CD? I can't remember, but it was about a mystery of a woman who died on a cruise.
Mm.
It was she disappeared and they could not find her. And they were Scottish or something. And they were just talking about how easy it was for her to go missing. And I was like, I'm not getting on nobody's boat at all.
I like
She hadn't
cruises, but
closed.
anything could go wrong. Anything could go wrong.
Yeah. And then everybody's
Yeah.
like, anything can go wrong anytime. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. But what basically happened is she met somebody. Did she know this person and nobody knew she went on the cruise with him? And whatever happened, she hadn't closed her door all the way.
Ooh.
And the person got into her room. And when she got in there, she didn't know that they were in there.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I was just like, I'm
Oh,
good. I'm good
no.
on cruises.
Oh,
But then, you get somebody who reads This Plane and they're like, nope, not getting on the plane. And then you
Look.
can read a book about somebody on the train, the shit that can go on the train. You're like, nope, not getting on the train.
I will get on the plane. I will get on the cruise and just pray.
Right. Because
I'm
you could go
good.
anyway. You could
Yeah.
go anyway. So, but I do remember that, it took me a while to get on a boat. But yes, I'm glad you did not read this or the previous one
Yeah. In
on
the
your trip
air.
to London.
I had thought that might not have been the best idea, even though I was like, ooh, the vibes. I'm like, no.
No, everybody would have been suspicious to you. You'd be like, homeboy in the flip-flops look real suspicious over there.
Gosh, right? Oh, gosh.
Blue polo.
Mm-hmm.
How many drinks has he had?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I didn't
Good.
need that. I'm glad
No.
I didn't do it. But
No.
so will you read more by TJ Newman? Will you read some more?
Because you know what? I have managed my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I will not rely on Goodreads to see if it's a mystery. Because I don't even think the publishers, what did they say at the beginning? I don't think they even said any.
Let's see.
Thriller. They mentioned it as a thriller. They call it a thriller. Okay, so they did right. They did right. Damn Goodreads people.
Yeah, thriller.
Yeah, they call
Edge
it
of your seat thriller.
Yeah. So yeah. But I didn't even read the synopsis prior to us picking it. I just said that I liked her writing before, and when we were looking for a book, I was like, oh, I liked her.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this one. And then when we saw, the ratings were pretty good, it was like, okay. And the ratings have remained the same.
Mm-hmm.
Basically still in the 4s. So, but yeah, I think I will. I do like her style. She really puts you, you are immersed in her story.
Definitely. She's a good storyteller. I think at times it's a little clunky, but what script writer isn't clunky?
Yeah. And I think
the finesse isn't there.
No. And I think if it does go to screen, that's where the producer, the directors and, editors and all that, that's where they come in and you polish it up. Like we could take that out. We understood that we had to do all this to lead up to, but we could kind of take that out or maybe add this little piece in.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally get it.
Yeah. I think it looks like, so obviously her being a former flight attendant, it looks like her theme here is just writing about crashing planes over and over again. So unless she decides to get out of that box so far, she's got 2 falling plane stories.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Like, you can only do that for so long. Yeah. Because it's going to be like plane takeover, falling. Yeah, it's like there's only so much you could do up there.
Okay, so we've got a plane. I'm guessing falling must be a plane about to fall out the sky. Drowning is a plane about to it is submersed and people are drowning. So I'm like, what else could happen in a plane? Falling and drowning, and that's it, right?
Yeah, disappearing. Like
I
nobody
guess a plane
can find
could
it.
Disappear. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember all those Bermuda Triangle flights and nobody could tell where they were? Who knows? I'm curious as what she's gonna write next. If she does.
I don't know.
Who knows? She might go into Hollywood and be like, I'm done here.
She might go the route of Yellow Jackets. Flynn. Do you watch Yellow Jackets on Showtime?
No, my kids keep telling me to watch it.
That show is so good. These poor kids, they were on a plane and the plane crashed in the middle of nowhere. And they survived by doing all sorts of things.
Yeah, I have it saved on Apple TV. I need to just do it. I'm not
Pull the
watching TV.
trigger.
I'm not watching TV as much as I used to. So, yeah, I do.
I've been watching a lot more TV.
You're like,
I know, but I feel like I'm going to be reading a lot more books too. So I think I'm going to have like all the vibes this summer. It's going to be a full vibe summer between TV and movies and books. I think I'm going to get all the things.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. And I would read, I think I would go back and read her first book. And if I really enjoyed it, I might be open to another when I'm in the zone for this kind of book.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that right. Because it's like now that you know her style or, and I think that's kind of how we are too. Like once we know, unless they just totally switch it up, because we have seen some authors switch it up because they want to try something different. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to try. And I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good on her or him.
Like stay with what you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes things go awry when you try something else.
Or it may take you 5 books. Okay, I won't say 5, maybe 3 books before you get into your groove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I guess we should go ahead and rate Drowning. Would you like to go first?
I will. My rating has changed.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to give it a 4.
All right. I was waiting for you to say 3.
It was a 3. And I was just like, okay, manage your expectations. You thought it was a thriller. It was some cliche. It was some cheesy stuff, but I would give her a 4.
I am with you on that rating. I thought when I finished it, that was good. Mm-hmm. And my 4 was my original rating, and I'm sticking to it because I guess I was fortunate that I didn't have that other experience with her other book, because I might have been coming into this the same way you did had I read that other book. So, but yeah, I had a good time with it. It was very fast. It was very fast to listen to, very fast reading. I think I was listening at 1.7x or something. It was pretty fast.
Yeah.
But it was just enjoyable and entertaining. And that's pretty much it. Just entertaining.
Yeah, I will say that. It really was. And once I got to that mark, like, I don't have a mystery to solve. Okay.
You're like, fine.
Girl was hoping Andy had did something nefarious, and that's why the plane, was getting ditched. And then I was like, nah, he didn't do nothing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, up next, I think we actually do have a mystery thriller next. So we're reading She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica. It's been a while since we've read her on the podcast. I think we've read her on the podcast, didn't we? Or did we read her on our own?
Did she do One Missing?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, that was the last one.
Yeah,
Local Woman Missing.
Local Woman Missing. Mm-hmm. Yes, and we did that on the podcast, and we liked it.
Yes, we really did. It was
crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for this because I did enjoy Local Woman Missing so much. So yeah. I'm excited. She is churning out these books. And so I have to admit, so early in her career, I liked her beginning books. And then I read a couple of books that kind of just didn't hit for me. Yeah. But once we read Local Woman Missing, I'm like, she's back.
She's back in her groove.
She's back in the saddle. Here we go.
She's in her bag.
Yeah. So I'm feeling good about She's Not Sorry. So we'll be back here in June to discuss that one.
Okay.
And of course, join us on book club. And all the fun things. You could talk about this book with us and other books as well. And join us on our Discord, where we like to talk all things bookish and other TV. A hot topic has been baby reindeer lately on the Discord.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you have to join the group on book clubs to join us on Discord. But yeah, if you're into that, join us there. And I think we're done. Oh yeah, we have an after show. So if you are subscribed on Spreaker or on Patreon, you'll catch that awesome after show. We have some additional thoughts on the idea of you, which I talked about last week. But Classy has some additional comments, and we're going to dive into that and some other bookish topics, and you don't want to miss it. So I think we are done. What do you think, Classy?
Yes, we are done.
All right. So it's been a blast. Thanks for listening to the entire episode. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you guys next month. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. Did you enjoy today's episode? If so, please head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave a positive 5-star review. It's a simple action that makes a big difference. You can also like this episode on your favorite podcast player or share it with your fellow bookworm friends on social media. Joining the Shelf Addiction Patreon family is another way to support us. For as little as $2 a month, you can help our team create even more amazing bookish content. If Patreon isn't your thing, consider becoming a supporter on the Spreaker app for just $5 a month and gain access to exclusive audio-only content. You can find me everywhere, including Instagram, X, and TikTok under the handle Shelf Addiction. Join our book club of the same name on the book club's website and app, where we discuss all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. Thanks for tuning in.